Hello everyone, welcome back to the Honey Wool Wonders knitting channel. My name is Honey and I'm coming to you from Melbourne, Australia. Today I have a very exciting video. It's a roundup of everything I've knitted in 2024. And it's not just a year of knitting for me, it'll be like my entire knitting journey so far. So if you didn't already know, I've started knitting only around June or July this year. So it's not even an entire year, but whatever I'm going to share today is going to be my whole like knitting pieces. And that even makes it a bit more exciting, at least for myself, that I'm kind of like sharing my learning journey as well as like my final like finished objects and final pieces. I won't be going like too deep into every details because honestly I think we'd be here forever, but I'll be sharing like the final pieces, the yarn that I use. I've got like a huge yarn stash in front of me, so I'm going to talk about the yarn I use, a bit about the pattern, my thoughts, and I might try to like wear a few if I can. So I don't know, we'll see how we go, but yeah, I'll try to do that. But since I've got like the microphone clipped to myself, it's kind of like a bit tricky. I'll see how I go. So yeah, if you're like curious about anything specific about any of these pieces, just feel free to pop your question in the comments. I'll do my best to just share more details if you're interested. So yeah, let's just jump right into it. Okay, so the first part is, all right, let's start with the cardigans, because the cardigan that I'm going to share here is actually my first ever knitted piece. So it's sort of like a very special piece to me. This is the Darling cardigan by Kutawakika. It's a pretty famous pattern. So I actually have to mention this at least once in this video, that Kutawakika, or like Veronica Lindbergh, that's her actual name, is who, like, she actually got me into knitting. So I remember like I was watching all her videos on YouTube. She's got a YouTube channel if you don't know already. And then it was just so fun and exciting. And then she's got video tutorials. So for this garment and this cardigan, I actually followed exactly step by step what she shared, because literally I had no idea how to just do anything. I remember like I did do some like sort of like, I started a scarf, like just knit some pearls, and as soon as I got my head around how the knit and pearl stitches work, I just jumped right into knitting a cardigan. And this is the first piece. I can try this on actually, because not a big fuss. Okay, so this is knitted in 100% wool. I don't remember the yarn that I used because it was something I had in stash from my crochet days. So it's not a perfect quality wool. As you can see, it's been quite like peeling off as well. But I've actually worn this like quite a lot, especially around the house, because it was sort of like, I don't know, it feels so nice. It's not too itchy. I'm not too sensitive to like itchiness, so nothing really bothers me that much, but I've worn this quite a lot. So yeah, this is just like a drop down, drop shoulder cardigan. The construction is pretty like straightforward. It was sort of like a very beginner friendly pattern as well. Like this was like literally my first piece, so that could be like a good proof of like being a beginner friendly pattern. And her patterns are super like straightforward. They're so clear and well written, so I didn't have any issues. And obviously the tutorial that she had just helped me heaps. So yeah, it's quite nice. I really love cardigans, so they're my like favorite pieces. I don't have many yet knitted so far, but I know that like cardigan's going to be like my most knitted pieces later. So I'm going to take this off because it's quite hot. Okay, I absolutely love that cardigan. I'm actually going to drop everything down here, otherwise I'll be covered in knits in a minute. So I had to make another one because I just love the pattern. I wanted something more better in terms of like stitch definition. I didn't have like the greatest stitch like evenness in that one, so I wanted to have a proper one, so I made another one. So this is the second darling cardigan of mine by Kika. This is a quite chunky and heavy cardigan, and I'll tell you why. So I knitted this in I've got the yarns, so these two. So this is a Rowan Alpaca Classic. This is a DK weight yarn, and this is a 4-ply. It's like a fingering weight yarn. This is a Australian brand, Morrison Son. So I held these two together. So it's like a DK held with a fingering, but the pattern was actually asking for a fingering with lace. So that tells how off gauge I was knitting this garment. So that's the final fabric. It's sort of like a very tight gauge, so it makes it a bit heavy. But again, I was like very new to knitting, and I had no idea about like yarn weights and how that would affect the final look and final feel of a piece. So I was just like enjoying the whole thing so much that I totally ignored the whole fact of like yarn weights. So this is the same like construction, drop shoulder, double knitted bottom band, and then it has this beautiful 2x1 ribbing, both for the cuffs and the bottom. It has a very like deep V-neck, which I absolutely love in cardigans. So yeah, this was like everything I actually needed. I love drop shoulders, I love V-neck, sort of like oversized as well. I knitted this in the size, I think medium, so it's slightly looser fit than the green one that I had, because yeah, I just enjoy and just like oversized, more positive ease pieces for most of my garments. Okay, so what else about this pattern? This actually got me to learn, yeah, it has this beautiful like shoulder detail along the shoulders. Yeah, I mean, there's really nothing I can complain about for this design. It was absolutely fun to knit. It got me to learn like mostly anything in a knitting pattern, like increases, all the terminology that you need to know when you start like reading patterns. And it actually like sort of got me to learn knit and purls pretty well, because like it's knitted, like it's not knitted in round like cardigans, open like front ones, and that just, I don't know, just got me to get a better hang of like knit stitches and purl stitches pretty well, which was a good thing. But I didn't realize that cardigans are quite tricky to make, especially as your first pieces. I could have just started with like sweaters, but I didn't know that. And the whole fact, like the whole time I was so excited about having this cardigan made by myself, that I was not even listening to anything being hard about cardigan, knitting cardigans. So that just drove me the whole way. And yeah, that's sort of a fun fact. Like when you don't have that background or like mindset about something being hard, you kind of don't have any issues with knitting it. I had so much fun knitting this, and this was like, this became so wearable. I've worn this so many times. Yeah, it's just such a lovely piece. But the fact that the yarn is a bit chunky and heavy, it sort of like makes it not as versatile as I would have wanted this to be. So if I'll make this again, which I'll probably do, because this is something that I'll be wearing every time when I'm like feeling a bit cold in winter days. So I'll be going with like the actual yarn weight, which was a fingering and lace weight. Yeah, so that was a real fun project. I love these two cardigans of mine, and I worn them a lot. Did I miss anything about that? Yeah, not really. But yeah, so if you're a new knitter or if you're new to knitting, make sure to check out Kita's YouTube channel. Her tutorials are amazing. I wouldn't be here talking about everything I've knitted in 2024 if it wasn't because of her. So I literally owe her big time, and I just love her. She's such a lovely human being as well. Okay, next part, I'm gonna start talking about my sweaters. I've got 3 today, and I'm going to start with my most fun piece of the year, which is my beautiful Salty Days sweater. This again is a pattern by Kutavakika. Should I wear this as well? Yeah. Okay, so this is this beautiful Salty Day sweater in this lovely sort of like marled green yarn. I'm going to talk about the yarn in a minute, but let's just appreciate this beautiful design. I mean, I can't talk enough about this pattern and this design and the final look of this sweater. I absolutely love this one. This is my favorite piece in 2024. I just spoiled it already, but yeah, this was my first sweater. As you can see, it's like an all over textured sweater. So it's like sections. We've got cables. We've got like sort of these mock or like diamond shapes, and then we've got some ribbing at the top, and then the same pattern repeats itself throughout the sleeves. The back, let me turn around. The back is also like all textured as well. So it was quite a tricky pattern, and it was my first ever sweater. So again, I was just so excited about having this piece and owning this piece that I just totally ignored the fact that you can actually start with a stockinette sweater instead of like an all over textured sweater, just to make your life easier. But again, she has a tutorial. I followed that exactly step by step, and I had no issues. Like, the fit is perfect. I did make mistakes along the way, obviously, but I just unraveled, frogged, started again. It was okay. I had so much fun learning a lot of things in this. So once I made this piece, I was like, you know what? I can actually consider myself as a knitter now. So this piece actually got me into, like, gave me the confidence of like just not being afraid of like trying literally anything. Like before this, I was so careful about the patterns that I choose, because I always was like, can I make this? Is this doable? Do I know all the techniques and all of that? But after this, I was like, yo, you made this. So you can make anything after this. So I'm glad I did not scare away from trying this one. Okay, let me take it off and then I'll talk about the yarn. Okay, so the yarn that I used again was very off like gauge. So the pattern, I think it calls for like a fingering and a lace weight yarn. I held a DK weight. So this is, again, it's not the full ball, but it's the same Rowan Alpaca Classic that I had in this yellow color. So this was the color, I think, foliage green, and I held it with the same Morris & Son yarn, but in this sort of like green-ish color. So I held these together. So again, I was fingering in DK, that's quite off gauge, and it gave me like a thicker fabric as a result. And it gave that marled sort of like color, which I love. Like, I love green. Like, green's my favorite color. So when I achieved this green in this piece, I was like, oh my god, like what else would I want in a sweater? Like, the color's perfect, the texture's perfect. The neckline is absolutely beautiful. It's this double folded, like twisted rib neckline. The cuff as well is twisted rib. This is just a beautiful sweater. I think we all need to have one of these in our wardrobe. And I've worn this quite a lot as well, but not like once I started like finishing all of these pieces, it was already becoming a bit like warmer here, so I missed on the colder weathers to be able to try out everything I knitted. So next year winter, because we're in summer here, next year winter I'll be able to enjoy and give them like the actual appreciation to all of these pieces by wearing them. So I still did wear this quite a bit, but not as much as I really would love to. So let's give this a final look. The sweater of the year, the Salty Day sweater, my first ever knitted sweater, which I love. Oh, actually that one helped me to win a $100 voucher as well. So yeah, that sort of like makes it a bit more special. So the yarn place that I purchased the yarn, which is this brand, Morris & Sons, I tagged them in the photo and they just fell in love with it. And there was like a competition, sort of like contest thing happening. And yeah, I won that one, and they gifted me kindly a $100 voucher, which I used to buy yarn for my... Okay, there is a piece here that I don't own. It's been gifted to my lovely mom, so I won't be sharing, like showing it here. I'll pop up pictures here, but I used the voucher to buy yarn for that one. Okay, so my next sweater is... This might be a bit wrinkly because they've been all put away for the summer, but this is my Monday sweater by Petite Knit, a very popular pattern again. I knitted this very recently, so this just got finished, I think, I don't know, like a month ago. I used, let me show you. I used Knitting for Olive Fingering Merino in the color Dusty Sea Green. So it's this lovely green color, and I held this with Knitting for Olive Mohair. I don't think I've got any leftovers, but the mohair that I held this with was the color Dusty Artichoke, so it's not the exact matching color, so that's why it's sort of like, again, a bit of like Marl effect. That was intended. I did want to play around with the color a bit, since it was like sort of like a plain stockinette sweater. I wanted to just give it a bit of like a depth, holding like different sort of like colors. And I love this sweater. This is such a beautiful... I'll try it on. Okay, so this is how it looks. I love the fit of this sweater. I just can't wait for winter to be here so I can actually wear these. Let me just give it a full look. So that's the length. It's sort of like cropped a little bit. I think I went a bit shorter than the actual pattern asks for. It has this very generous amount of like cuff ribbing, as well as like the hem. It has a beautiful ribbed neckline. It's a raglan construction. It's really like, this wasn't really anything like complicated about this pattern. It's just like a basic raglan construction. And when I was knitting this, that's where I was like questioning myself, like, why did you not start with something like this instead of the Salty Day sweater? But that's okay. I had a lot of fun knitting this, but I think I'm just not a stockinette person that much. I would enjoy it like once in a while to just give my brain a break after like knitting things in textured. But yeah, it's okay. But I think I'll still enjoy like cabled and textured patterns way more. They're like, I just enjoy the whole process much better and the final look. But this piece, I just wanted something a bit like mindless to just wear whenever I feel like a bit cold, just throw on without really needing to think about styling it. And I'm so happy with this final look of this one. I did end up with dye lot issues, as you can see on the sleeve, so the mohair ended up being a different dye lot, and there's like a very visible line on the sleeves, but it's okay. I don't really mind it. So yeah, Monday sweater by Petite Knit. I knitted this in the size small. I wanted this to be a bit oversized as well, like not too fitted. So I usually make extra small for Petite Knit patterns, but this one I made this size small and the fit is perfect. I love it. Okay, we've got the last sweater on the list, which is, this is the sweater number 28 by My Favorite Things Knitwear. Isn't this just so pretty? I love this one. This is the coziest and the most, like, this softest. I just don't know what to say about this. This is like, yeah, this is just such a beautiful design. Once I saw this pattern, and again, I don't really know that many designers, at least when I was doing like making all of these. So they're like, all of them were new other than like Kurovakika, which just like got me into knitting. But like everyone else, they were like mostly my first time trying their pattern. So My Favorite Things Knitwear, this was my first ever knitted piece of hers. I had no issues with the pattern itself. It was like very straightforward, well written. The construction was like super cool as well. You start with the neck. There's no ribbing involved, so the whole texture literally starts from the very beginning, and then you start increases to just shape that beautiful shoulder seam. And then it's a drop down construction again, so you pick up stitches for the sleeves at the end. There's no ribbing at the end, so there's like, it's all the same textured. I might try this on as well because this is so beautiful. I really want you to see it. Okay, so this is so beautiful. Like whenever I wear this, I just feel so special. And then the fact that I just made this just makes me even like feel even more special. My neighbor's like walking by and she's going to be like, is this girl crazy wearing this chunky sweater in a 30-degree day? Okay, something just got stuck in my eyes. I don't know what it was. Okay, so yeah, this is the final look. Let me just stand up a bit. So it's like the most oversized sweater that I could dream of. The sleeves are very like generously long, which I made it intentionally long because long sleeves are also something I love in my garments. It's so comfortable, like, and this is my most worn knitted piece. Like if I'll have to just pick one, even during that very small window that I actually was able to wear knitted pieces, like it was cold enough, this one got the most wear. So whenever I went to my wardrobe and choose something, this would be selected because it's just so easily, like, you can easily like style it with anything because of maybe because of the color, because it's sort of this very muted like neutral color, and the feel as well. It's literally like it feels like you're wrapped yourself in a blanket, and the texture just makes it very special. I don't know, I just love this piece. It's one of my, did I just say that? My favorite? It's my second favorite sweater after the Salty Days. This is definitely my second one. And this one as well, I have to take it off. Give me a second. Okay, so this one again was quite off gauge. I knitted this in the Isager soft. I have a bit of leftover. So it's this sort of like blown yarn. I think it's like cotton as well in it. This yarn weight, I think it's chunky if I'm not mistaken, and this pattern was asking for like a fingering with lace or DK weight something, so I was again so off gauge. But the moment I touched this yarn, I just loved it. And I just imagined this sweater in this yarn. And I was like, I have to make it. And it exactly turned out how I imagined it. So yeah, sweater number 28 by My Favorite Things Knitwear. It's this beautiful sort of like ribbed texture, which gets like, there's like some pearl rows in the middle, which just makes it sort of like this laddered shape. Yeah, I got really good compliments on that with that one as well. Like wherever I worn it, everyone were like, oh, that's so beautiful. That's some iced tea I have. Okay, now let's go to, oh, I missed one of my cardigans. This is the Silver Leaf Cardigan by Avec Anna in this beautiful, the sleeves are like this all over lace textured with this beautiful like semi balloon sleeves. And I modified this pattern. So the actual pattern is like a round neck cardigan. I modified this to a V-neck. This was my first time trying a raglan construction. So I had a bit of trouble like understanding this. And then since the sleeves were like all textured from the very top, I had a bit of issue. I think, yeah, I've got like a vlog, like project vlog for this pattern if you want to have a look, because there was like a bit of a drama involved with knitting this, but I ended up loving it. So this is, yeah, as I said, this is a raglan cardigan. The sleeves are so beautiful. So I think like this, the main feature of this cardigan, which makes it super pretty, is the sleeves. I used her own yarn for this one. So she's got her own yarn brand Avec Anna. So I used the fingering weight yarn. I don't have the actual ball for the fingering. It's a superwash merino, and I held it with the same color mohair. So this is the color Jade. It's this like very beautiful like green. I actually worn this a lot as well because it's not too warm. It's a very lightweight layering piece, which was exactly like what I was planning to get out of this. So I wanted something that I could wear during spring or even a bit like chilly days in summer. And whenever that comes, I just grab this. It's so beautiful. I love the color. It's sort of like maybe slightly tighter than I was hoping. I don't really like, you know, like fitted pieces. So if this was a bit larger, I would even wear it more. I just was learning how the whole, this is like the worst thing. I can actually wear this on. So if I wear this, I usually have something very like a very tight top, tank top underneath. So it'll sit a bit better, but it's still very nice. What else do I want to say about this pattern? Nothing much really. The pattern was, I had a bit of trouble with the pattern, but that was because like the fact that I was very, again, new to reading patterns, it wasn't quite beginner friendly because it wasn't like giving you the whole instructions. There were bits that you had to figure out yourself. So yeah, there was like, I had a lot of issues with this one, to be honest, and I did capture that in that video. It's sort of like a funny one, but the lace pattern on the sleeves is just so beautiful. I love that texture. It's very feminine. Whenever I wear this, I just feel, I don't know, it's just so pretty. I can wear this like a lot. I wear this a lot on like my dresses or on skirts. It's such a beautiful piece to have. So this is my last cardigan that I forgot to show. Silver Leaf Cardigan by Avec Anna. Okay, let me talk about this one and then I'll go to the last summer piece. This is the Vilma top by Gregoria Fibers in this beautiful Isager Jensen yarn, which I held with the Isager alpaca, and it gave this beautiful, beautiful texture and fabric. So this is the yarn that I use. I've got a bit left. So that's the Isager Jensen, And this is the Isager Alpaca one. This is a lace weight, and this is a DK weight yarn. I think the pattern calls for like an Aran weight yarn. And I did manage to like meet the gauge holding these two together. I knitted this in the size, I think the second size. I can try this on as well. This Vilma top, I had this one saved on in my Instagram for like ages, even before I was into knitting. So I always loved this piece. And when I realized that's like an actual pattern that you can make, I was like, without even like thinking too much, I just got it and then ended up making it. So this is a bottom up construction top or vest. Like this is again not the best top to wear this on. I usually just wear it with like plain white tees or just itself. It's a bit itchy. Like the Isager Jensen yarn is sort of like a very rustic yarn, but it's not too itchy as it seems. So quite surprisingly, I was able to wear this like very like close to skin without having anything underneath, and for a whole day I was wearing this without any issues. But again, I'm not too sensitive to itchiness, so I'll probably not be the best one to comment on this, but this is a bottom up construction. So you start with provisional cast on, and then you knit up till the sleeves, and then you separate the front and the backs. The shoulders are shaped with short rows. There's this beautiful line across the shoulders, and then you pick up stitches for the front bottom band, which is a ribbed bottom band, and then the neck as well. And I ended up adding this beautiful buttons to it, which I love. I think it just goes super well with the design. I have worn this a lot as well. Like this got a lot of wear because I was able to wear it like by itself. I am even thinking of making like a summery version of this one, like using a cotton yarn or like something less woolly, because this sort of like construction, something cropped, oversized, and a bit cute, like this is exactly what I would love to have more of. And I sort of like missed having this one in a more summery yarn this summer, because I was always thinking of like, oh, if I had that Vilma top in a summery yarn or like a bit like not woolly yarn, I would be wearing it much more. This was again the first pattern I knitted from Regia Fibers. I absolutely love her designs. They're all very unique and they've got a very special touch to them, and I just love it. This Vilma top is, again, a very special piece that I have. I'm so proud of how it turned out. I might have, like, if I'll make this again, I might just add a very, very slight amount to, like, the length. Not too drastic, but just a little bit. If I wear like a high-waisted jeans, it'll sit exactly where my waist is, like the jean ends. So I wouldn't mind it to be a bit like slightly longer than it is, but as it is, I'm still happy with it. But if I'll make it again, I'll just make it slightly longer. So this beautiful piece by Regia Fibers, Vilma top, which I love. I honestly, now that I'm reviewing all of my pieces, I feel like I just love all of them. Like they're very special pieces that I just made with so much love. Okay, my last garment is this very wrinkly. This is the Cumulus Tee by Petite Knit. Again, a very famous pattern of hers. This is my first and only summer knit. So I used the Knitting for Olive Cotton Merino in the color Ballerina. I only used 3 skeins for this one. So this is the size extra small, and I ended up using 3. This is the 4th ball, which I think I barely used. So I think I also made like the sleeves a bit longer. So if I went with the actual pattern, following the actual pattern, I would have just needed like 3. So this pattern has this beautiful like I-cord edge for the neck, for the bottom, and also the sleeves. And it was my first time doing I-cord edge. It was fun. I love the final touch. It gives it a bit of like a very clean look. I'm not going to wear this one because this one has to be worn like by itself, but I'll try to pop up pictures that I've worn this. I haven't worn this a lot. I think I've only worn this like maybe 2-3 times. And even it's summer and I can actually be wearing this way more than my other pieces. I don't know, it's just something about close fitted garments that I don't like, especially if there's like sort of like, this is cotton merino, so there is a bit of wool in it. I don't know, I just don't, the summer knits, I don't think they're my thing, at least not this year. I still loved knitting this. This was knitted on a fingering weight with like a very small, I think 2.75 millimeter needle. So it took a while. It's such a like tight gauge as well. I had fun knitting this. The yarn was super soft, but I don't know. I'm not a fan of summer knits, at least not this year, as I said. So maybe next year I'll be knitting them more. But the fact that I didn't wear this that much quite tells me that maybe it's still not my thing. So I don't know if I'll be making more. But like the Vilma top, I know I would be wearing that one more if I'll use like a more like cotton sort of yarn, because it's oversized. Like I won't be enjoying wearing like close fitted pieces. The last piece, my last garment piece is the Moby Neck that I made for my mom by Petite Knit. This is a heavily modified version of the Moby Neck. So as you can see in the photos, it's like very super long. It's more like a slip over. I just used that texture and the pattern to just like create that beautiful Moby texture, which I absolutely love. I knitted that in the Knitting for Olive Merino in the Dusty Sea Green, and I held it with the Rowan Kidsilk Haze Mohair. Like this yarn combination and the tension, the gauge has been my favorite combo so far. So this has created the softest fabric ever. Like the Rowan Mohair is the softest mohair that I've tried. I've tried the Knitting for Olive. I've tried the Isager one. Isager one is quite good as well in terms of like softness. But the Rowan one was the softest. Like I absolutely love that texture. And I was so glad that I tried that combo for like a special sort of piece that I gifted. So it's like a very like high turtleneck piece. And I did add a bit of like knitted band to close the front and the back. I used a similar cable texture in the front. Yeah, so that's my final piece, which I don't have, and I loved knitting that one as well. Okay, let's go to the next part. So this part, I'm going to talk about my accessories, so like socks, hats, bags. Okay, so I'm going to start with my only one beanie or hat that I made. So this is the Perfect Day beanie by Kika. I made this again with a very weird yarn combination. So I held these two together. These are again Rowan Alpaca Classics. You might be thinking of like, why do I have that many Rowan Alpaca Classic yarns? But there was like a point that I decided to make like a colored version cardigan and like crocheting one, and I got like a very bunch of like Rowan Alpaca Classics in very weird colors. Like they don't go together that much, and I never ended up doing that. So I had these in stash and I just wanted to use them, so I held them together, and it again gave it this beautiful sort of like Marl look. And this is off gauge as well. I wasn't supposed to be holding 2 DK weight yarn, so it's quite thick and very like a very tight gauge. So this is a bottom up beanie, so you knit like the brim, so it's twice the length that you see here, and then you knit it, you fold it and you knit it in round, and then you just continue in the round until you reach to these decreases. The crown is sort of shaped with decreases, and I'm not going to wear this because it's going to like mess up my hair big time, but it's quite beautiful. I like it. I didn't really wear this that much. It doesn't get too cold in Melbourne. Like, I mean, I will still wear it maybe next year. Yeah, I don't know. I didn't really wear this that much, but it's still a beautiful piece to have. And I didn't have any issues with it. The pattern was pretty straightforward again. So yeah, Perfect Day Beanie by Kutavekika. Okay, I'm gonna start now on my socks. So I had I had a lot of doubt if I'll be enjoying sock knitting at all, but I did keep seeing people like sharing their socks, and I absolutely love their final look, and I just wanted to give it a go. So I had to start one as well. So this is my first knitted sock. It's this Hibernal Socks by Summerlee. It's this beautiful all over textured sock. It has this beautiful sort of like cables, which are shaped with like yarn overs. There's like a slip stitch heel flap. The bottom is just stuck in it. It's just a very beautiful pattern. I absolutely love the final look of this. I haven't worn this at all, like neither of my socks. I just feel like they're so precious and so special that I can't justify wearing them. I don't know if that's just me or if anyone else has the same feeling. But again, this was like finished not in winter, so that's probably why. I'll try to wear them at least a few times next year. But this is so beautiful. And the moment that I started sock knitting, I used like magic loop with the Chaogu lace, the red cable ones, and I had no issues with the construction. This is a cuff down sock. She's got a tutorial on this one, so that's why I managed to start my first sock without being like a vanilla sock, because I know that's what everyone, like most people, get into sock knitting. But the tutorials that she had helped me a lot, and the pattern is just so beautiful. I used the Regia sock base, the Regia Silk sock base, so it's like a polyamide wool and silk composition. I've got a bit left. It's this beautiful, like sort of like a light pink color. It's a very lightweight sock. I knitted this in using 2.25 millimeter needles. I made this in the size medium. And my second sock that I have is this beautiful socks by Marie Christine. It's this beautiful broken rib textured sock. It's the same construction. It's a top-down construction. I did modify this slightly, so the cuff is actually double, like it's folded in the actual pattern, but I just went with one layer, and then I didn't really have a more like contrasty color to use, so I just used the Regia pink that I had, and this one is made in the Regia sock base, but with the yak composition. So it's this beautiful like gray, like headed gray yarn. It's super soft. It's very like fuzzy, and you can actually see the difference in terms of like the texture. They're both fingering weight. They're both knitted on a 2.25 millimeter needles, but they just feel very different. This is more like very chunky. It feels heavier. It's such a cozy sock, and I'm so happy with the color. I'm so happy with the fit. These are just so beautiful, and I had so much fun knitting socks, and I know I'm going to be knitting way more socks next year. Yeah, I just don't have that many sock yarns that I can use, so I'll have to just go and maybe buy some. Okay, let's get to the next accessory that I've got, which is my bindle bag. Let me fill it up with some yarn so it'll hold a bit better for you to see. So this is a pattern by Ozetta. It's this beautiful, cute bag that you can actually just tie with itself. I knitted this holding some leftover yarns that I had. So I used the Knitting for Olive. Was it the Knitting for Olive? No, so this was the Long Avec Anna Merino that I had left over from my silver leaf cardigan. So that fingering, and I held it with two mohair. So 2 strands of mohair and 1 fingering, and it gave it this beautiful, like super fuzzy and soft fabric. I held it with the Rowan mohair and the Long Avec Anna mohair. So they're a different color base, so that's why it's not super like matching. But I just love the texture. This is such a beautiful and cute bag. So the final, like the ending is like, the straps are shaped with short rows. I love this one, and I use this so much. Like, this is my semi-project bag, so up until the stage that I can actually like keep my project, especially my socks, like it perfectly fits my socks and the yarn. If I'm just starting on knitting something, I can actually hold it in this, and it's just such a cute bag. I use it mostly as my project bag. I was aiming to use it as my like more like cosmetic bag, but I feel like it deserves to be holding my yarns. And my last piece that I have here is my coast bag by Petite Knit. I love this bag. I think I've been wearing, like holding this a lot, especially lately in summer. It holds like, it's quite generous in terms of like size. I can take my like knits, a book, or like whatever. So I knitted this using a jute yarn that I just found on Amazon. So I knitted this using this jute yarn. I know it's not the best yarn, but it turned out okay. Like the texture is fine. It has this beautiful like I-cord straps. It's knitted bottom up, so you start with the very like bottom, and the bottom is knitted on a smaller size needle, and then you just continue. And then I've got like a tension issue here as well, which I ended up having when I started like knitting flat, but it's okay. I just use this so much. Like if I want to go somewhere like quick that I'm not carrying that many stuff with me, I usually go for this one. It's just so nice to style. It's versatile. You can just style it with anything. And she uses this a lot. Like in most of her photos, you see this coast bag. And that's the wrap for 2024 and everything I've knitted in my first year as a knitter. I'm honestly so proud of like how far I've come with my knitting journey. Like each of these pieces have brought so much joy in my life, and I just can't believe it. Like something that can be just like your hobby or a craft can just change so much in your life. And I know this isn't just me, and a lot of people out there feel the same, and I'm so grateful to be part of this community and be able to share all of these lovely pieces with you all. If you've reached this point of the video and if you enjoyed the video, feel free to give the video a thumbs up. I'm so excited for 2025. I have so many ideas of like how to continue making videos for my channel. So if you don't want to miss out on them, also don't forget to subscribe. You can also find me on Instagram on the Honey Wool Wonders. I'm not super active on there, but I do post like some behind the scenes or like some progress on my knits. So if you're interested, you can check me out on Instagram. I think I'll just call it here. I've been talking for so long. Thank you so much for spending some time with me today. I would love to hear your 2024 like highlights, like what was your most fun or your most proud moment in the knitting journey, and let me know if you've like what was your favorite piece for all my knits. I just have to say a huge thank you to every single one of you out there supporting me and my channel. It just means so much to me and I'm so grateful. I'm gonna end it here. I hope you have a wonderful and amazing 2025. I'm looking forward to 2025 myself, and I will see you next year in my next video. Bye.